Hi, you guys. Happy Saturday. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm meeting with John over at I'm meeting with one of my fellow cause makers here. So I just wanted to I'll invite him to our group, our live chat. So if you have any questions, definitely ask questions with the question mark there. That'll help us address any questions or concerns that you may have. And then definitely give him a follow. If you click on the arrow up there, you'll be able to see his Instagram account as well. He also has a woodworking account, which I did tag in my post as well. So I'll add him on here. Otherwise, let me know if you guys have any questions. Definitely thank you for joining us today. All right, he is on. Hi, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining me and talking about your cause. This is a great cause. I know there's a lot of like foster and adoption and stuff like that going on around in the community. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and let us know, about yourself and what this cause is about as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm married with four kids. My name's John. My wife's name is Jenna, and then I've got a bunch of kids from 8 all the way down to 18 months. So I
Oh,
stay
wow.
quite busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm originally adopted. So adoption's always been something that's been on my heart for a long time, and my wife and I we looked at adopting when we were younger, and it didn't work out. And then with being in the military, my life's a little hectic. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll probably adopt. I think maybe in about 3 or 4 years when we retire. But for now, I think we just tried to find a way back in 2016 to kind of give back to adoption as a whole. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so in 2016, we the first thing I did was I built this really cool kind of niche toddler bed for my kid,
Yeah.
and everybody liked it. People wanted to buy it, and at the same time, one of our friends was adopting, and we didn't have funds to provide to that. So I was like, hey, we'll just make another one of these beds, and then sell it, and then whatever proceeds from that can just go to the adoption. And
Yeah.
that worked out well. And then it just kind of snowballed into a business where which is what my actual woodworking business is,
Yeah.
um, where I make stuff, and then we give 50% of those proceeds to adopting families.
Oh,
And
wow.
then yeah, and then what happened is we moved to Germany,
Yeah.
and I took a bit of a hiatus from doing woodworking for customers and did more for myself, just kind of doing some cool things with the family. And so after about a year of not, really contributing to adoption, we started to get that kind of itch and started
Yeah.
to think about how can we continue to support this while we're over here, and then in Germany, and we were makers for adoption is kind of what was born from that. And so uh, which basically we created this whole theme where the entire intent is to kind of inspire makers to give to adoption in any capacity, and then to get other companies to kind of jump on and then reward those makers
Yeah.
once a year for doing so. So
Oh, that's awesome. And I saw the prizes that you shared on your post and stuff like that. Those are amazing prizes. And I saw the boat that you built. That was awesome.
yeah, I think
Is that for yourself or is that for as a donation as well?
which one is it the strip canoe one
Yeah, yeah.
or the Yeah, the really large strip canoe one was actually for a Belgian customer that kind of fell out financially at the last minute.
Oh,
Um, and so now it just gathers dust in my living room instead of
oh.
doing anything. But it will
Yeah,
be, I think, we'll give my oldest son the option to keep the bed if he wants to, and if he doesn't, then we'll go ahead and sell it when we get back to America, and then yes, absolutely, those proceeds will go to an adopting family, since that was originally started on the business side.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I admire you for what you guys are doing because it's such a huge, it'll help the family out tremendously. Just because there's so many families out there that are, trying to adopt and stuff like that. And it's a long process, that's for sure. There's a lot of children that needs to be adopted and fostered. And I think it's such a great cause that you're doing. So I admire you and Jenna for putting in such a lot of work and effort into all this.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. It's definitely, it's really rewarding. I love seeing, I think it's more rewarding, the Makers for Adoption, than the actual business side of the house, just because I get to see other people and meet with other companies and see things happen on a more wide scale than a just, I don't want to say more targeted scale, but a more, just a wider scale, more children being able to be financially represented, versus just one family at a time. So
Yeah, yeah. Now, besides your page, is there any other ways that others can also help and contribute to the cause?
yeah, I mean, obviously, even if people aren't makers, I mean, like I said, the whole intent of this is really just to inspire makers to give towards adoption. If a maker is in the process of adopting someone, and they want to be represented, I would absolutely push that out on the page. If you're a maker and you have recently adopted, like I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I think it's the Tinker Workshop. I believe it's the guy that just joined us. Then I don't really have you do any of the steps. So I feel like if you're actually adopting, then there's really no need for you to go through all the steps for this. Then they're automatically entered into it once a year. But for everyone else, all we ask is that people give $50 to an adopting family, directly to an organization that's directly supporting adoption, or just in any capacity that they can find that's going to be targeted towards adoption. And that's it. And then just to jump on and like the pages and do the standard giveaway stuff. I know $50 for makers is a lot of money sometimes. But that's why I run it once a year, and I try to keep the window's wide open. So, so for example, if you don't get in by June 30th of this year and July 1st, you give $50 to a family, then that means you're basically entered into 2023's giveaway at that point. So I keep it open the entire year.
Okay. So for right now, the end is on June 30th for this round, and then after that we'll be signed up for the next year. Okay, that's a huge, because I know if we all have different things going on and stuff like that, so that's a good amount of time spanned. I saw Justin in Cornerstone saying hi to us, so hi you guys. So but yeah, that's such a huge it's such a my husband was adopted and stuff like that, and so which made a huge impact on his life just because of all the things that he's been experiencing and stuff too. So and it's definitely a touching subject for me as well, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Now, so walk us through like the process again. So we pretty much just make whatever we want, and then do you have, if someone's looking to adopting and stuff like that, or want to donate, or just want to help and donate, can we reach out to you? Do you have like a list of adoption agency or anything like that you work with normally?
Yeah, so I try to stay away from like giving out specific places. Just simply because I know last year, so I'm a Christian, right? And so I usually give towards Life Song for Adoptions, but I know that doesn't fit towards everyone's ideals. And so for me, I didn't want to lock it into like a specific agency.
Yeah, thank you, you guys. Sorry about that, you guys. So, alrighty, John. So where do we end up at? I know you said that you have your a place that you usually donate to and stuff like that, but you can help us, or connect us to certain places, but just depending on where everyone's located. But definitely like mostly doing our own research would be helpful too, just because you're in Germany, so and there's so many different agencies out there. So I think that's always
Yeah,
good.
it's important to think. So I usually keep all of this U.S. only, U.S. and Canada for now. But
Uh-oh.
as far as
Join me. Hi.
Hey, how's this?
Hi. That's much better.
Oh,
Hi.
it must be my
Hi,
old
CJS.
phone or something. It must be I'm using the wife's phone now, so maybe that was the problem.
It could be. It could be. I changed
Oh man.
location too, just in case it was my 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 internet.
No, I
So
definitely think it's here. It's so much clearer now. I think it's my old phone. Maybe I just need to pony up and get another one.
hi Tim. Hi you guys. Thanks for still sticking around with us. Hi CJS Bespoke. He's from Ireland. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, you guys, for joining us. Alrighty, John. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, no
So,
worries.
so I
So
know where do we leave off? Hi, you guys.
yeah, I think the biggest one was the like, where do you go to donate? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so even though I'm in Germany, I try to keep everything U.S. and Canada based for the most part. For this one, I'm not really against this year. I'm not really against shipping overseas for some of the items, just because I'm overseas and it's pretty easy. Um,
Yeah.
but but generally speaking, when I go back to the States in about 6 months,
Okay.
then I'd like to keep it U.S. and Canada for now, just because companies are more willing to do so, and so I find that easier. Maybe in the future I'll shop around worldwide companies, or if people have ideas or want to get on board overseas and try to help us out with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing that, but as far as donations go, where people can go to donate, yeah, I think about a week ago I posted a thing on the Makers for Adoption page that says, adoption locations or whatever, places you can go, donation locations. And I think I put about 10 places on there.
Yeah.
But like I was trying to say earlier, is that just out of that experience with the first one, where we kind of our own belief systems kind of clashed, and I was like, look, that's not what the intent of this page is for. I
No,
don't care. I don't care what your belief systems are, as long as you're giving towards adoption for children in some sort of fashion that satisfies the intent of the Makers for Adoption. So, um,
yeah.
but yeah, so that's why I don't usually try to push people towards one website or the other. I think people should
Yeah.
absolutely make their own decisions, and not give money to an organization anyway until you actually research it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And and the thing is, there might be others that already are set up with other agencies and stuff like that too. And if any of our followers know of locations that they recommend and stuff like that, you never know who all needs the information too. So definitely think just sharing. I think that's the one thing about this community is like just sharing the information of, because there's so many different organizations out there. So sharing the information is definitely what a big plus for this community as well. So, and you guys have right now, I know Elgin and there's several other companies that have donated to win the prize and stuff like that. So as you can see, I have my Elgin. They're great to work with. So I always enjoy the company and stuff too, and their products. Oh, and I take it a lot of these are the products that you use over when you do your working as well.
Yeah, and I don't think it's based off of like trust in the companies, because of the products, as much as it is just knowledge of the products, and going to them and saying, "Hey, look, I purchased from you before, and this is something that
Yeah.
I'll do." So think big companies, that like more expensive companies like Lee Nielsen type tools, they usually give a pretty significant discount, which they have this year. Which I think what we'll do is get I think we'll purchase a block plane as part of the giveaway for this year. And then some of the tools come from other people that want to help out in some way, shape, or form, and so we get private donations of tools as well. And then the big companies, the companies that most makers are working with today, Total Boat.
Yeah.
And Woodpeckers was they've been very solid. I've been very blessed in that regard. I contacted them the first year and they gave us a T-square, and then I contacted them by email, and within like 20 minutes they just sent me the product and didn't even respond back. And so very company. So
That's all. Hi, Angela. Hi, Josh.
Hey, try number like 5.
I know, that's okay. Alrighty. But yeah, so where did we leave off? I know we've talked about, how people can donate, where to find, and the page has a lot of information on there as well, and also process of how other makers can also contribute to the donations and stuff. And then also the prices are listed on the website, on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else? What else did we talk about? Hi, Marco.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay. And you, this is very near and dear to your heart as well as mine. And then now I know you as a maker and stuff like that. Do you have any specialties that you like to work on and do?
Yeah, I'm really just kind of basically I like to do one-off things, if that makes sense. I'm not a big fan of kind of run-of-the-mill things. I know a lot of woodworkers are into kind of like the epoxy and the beach boards, and in my case, like a lot of people do like military memorabilia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I generally try to stay away from that. You want to jump in on this, huh? Oh, my wife's giving me a look. Yeah, I generally try to stay away from that. Not because I don't see those as woodworking or anything, but they're just done all the time. And so I like to do things.
It's pretty common.
Yeah, I like to do things that are completely different, that people haven't done. Thus the big, massive boat beds, and I'm currently building I'm currently building a 10-foot nutcracker as a gift to the town, the German town that we live in.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and
that looks awesome.
Yeah, we joke that I think maybe in about a year, I think we'll get a notification that some German teenager stuck his head in it or something. But
Tim over at Gears and Fire says, "Are you looking just for donated tools?"
Yeah, I mean, if they want to donate to the cause as well, I have absolutely no problem with that. And usually, if a company wants to donate a tool, I try to, or if a person wants to donate a tool, I try to keep it as hands off as possible, if that makes sense. So usually what I'll do is I'll ask them what they want to donate, and then on July 1st I'll send the winner's information to that individual to send it to, and then they can just mail it out directly. If it's easier and they want to send it, then they can send it to me. I just ask that people usually do that about 30 days prior to the actual closeout, just because it gets a little bit tougher of making sure that it gets out on time and things like that, especially currently because I'm in Germany, so it has to come across the pond and then go back across the pond again. So
that makes it a little difficult. Well, I appreciate your service too, and your wife's sacrifice, and I know you guys are definitely busy family.
Yeah, she's the busy one of the family. She takes care of my four young crazy kids running around. So
yeah, they're young too. So I appreciate everything that she's doing as well. So now, is there anything else you would like to share, and how everyone can help and stuff like that? So that way, since we've kind of we got a couple of new people that are on as well.
Yeah, I mean, generally all I'll say is that for makers, I think if if you wanted to be able to do this, it's pretty simple. You know, all you have to do is make something, anything. You know, there's no rhyme or reason to what you need to make, and then just donate $50 to an adopting venue, to an adopting family, anything like that. And then just go back on the Makers for Adoption page, and then just like the pages that the sponsors pages. That's pretty much it. I like to keep it hands off, especially with the money. I don't want to have to worry about taxes and getting involved with that portion of the business, and then there's a trust factor. You know, whenever someone's like, hey, you know, give me some money, donate money to this cause, you can send me a check, and then all of a sudden it becomes a trust problem, right? So I never want that to be a factor. Also, the fact that I don't really want to turn this into like a nonprofit or anything like that. I want this to be a completely separate kind of inspiration type work, and not necessarily a 501c3 kind of thing. So I like to give it up to the member, and that way the member's free to, you know, go out and pick a family specifically. There's a lot of places. That's one of the main reasons I use Lifesong is everybody has their stories up there, and you can read the stories, and you can kind of get a little more emotionally invested into what you're going to give to, which then can lead people to give a little bit more strongly to those kids. So maybe in the future we'll look at something a little more targeted. I think whenever it becomes a little bit bigger of a thing, maybe we have some makers that are, you know, adopting, and we can support them a little more targeted per year, make them kind of like a sponsored family per year or whatever. But as of now, just starting it out for the second year, then you know, I try to keep it as broad as possible.
Well, I think that what you guys are doing is amazing, and just helping spread the, you know, the information and stuff like that. So I'll try to help as much as I can, so that way we can definitely keep it going, because there's so many family that definitely can use the help with donations, or even just support. You know, I think the emotional support and monetary support is always helpful. So in any circumstances, I feel like that adopting is definitely one of the huge impact for any family members.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. You know, and honestly, one of the easiest ways that makers can get involved is just to share the page and to talk about it amongst makers. It's really hard to just get something like this started amongst makers, because, like I said, there's so much trust problems with stuff like this, right? So that's why I try to be as transparent as possible. And there's a lot of other big names like last year that on Instagram that joined on, like Seaman Customs. Took part, and Frank Does It, the real Frank Does It, took part as well last year.
And awesome, and Scott.
Yeah, some great guys. And so it's definitely it's not a scam. It's 100% above board, and as if you guys can help get the word out, that's honestly the biggest thing I'm looking for. So.
And I think that's the thing about our community. There's so many people that are very supportive, and I know right now everyone's, you know, being extra cautious just because of well, the things that's been going around, you know. So, but I think but it is that's why I also want to bring you on, because that way, you know, you're doing it for a good cause, and you're a live person that's doing this and stuff too, just to help spread the information out there. And what you're doing is it's a great cause.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that, you know, putting a face to I didn't initially really want to put a face to the organization, just because I wanted to keep it pretty anonymous, if that makes sense, to the point. But it just got to the point where I put all this work in, and you get all these companies, and they, you know, donate over $1,000 worth of tools, and then you have like 10 people that participate, which is great for the makers, right? Because you have this really small bucket of makers, and then you have this really large group of prizes, which is really great. But the intent is just to get a little more widespread. And then, of course, as the community gets more widespread and it begins to grow larger, then obviously bigger businesses will jump on, and then we can continually increase that. And we'll hopefully, if I can get back to the States in the next year, end up going to maybe going to the Workbench conference and kind of spreading it out in places like that, and makers get-togethers and things like that, and kind of grow it over the next 10, 15 years. So, but we only do it once a year, so it's absolutely like I said, if you can't get it done by June 30th and you call me on July 1st and say, hey, I got this done, it's no problem. At July 1st, then you're just entered into the giveaway in June 2023. So it's, it's not like it needs to be a rush, because we all have something going on. Like you said, all of us are busy. A lot of us are booked out for, months on end, with projects that we have going on. I don't know about you, but I usually have about 5 to 10 projects in my head, lined up. So like I said, no rush to any of that. If anybody's interested and wants to join, but can't do it, then just join when you can, and then just let me know, and we'll just kind of push you on to next year.
Yeah. Well, that's a great idea though. I'll definitely will keep sharing, the page and stuff like that, just so that way others will be interested in joining as well. Do you know how many makers are contributing to this now, or not yet?
No, not yet. Last year, I think we got to 13, I believe was what we were at, or 12. It was 12 last year. So this is the 13th was the one that jumped on. And then I have a buddy of mine, Cole, who was actually jumped in earlier and then jumped out. He's coming in on as well. But usually I found like last year that a lot of people join in the last 60 days, 30 to 60 days, or they keep it really low key, and don't talk about it until like the last 30 days. But which is totally fine. It's absolutely normal for people to do that, or they're just busy, and they're really just trying to crank it out at the last minute. I know some guys are doing it again this year. I think it's like Clydo Coastal Design, I think, is doing it again. It's Makers for Adoption. It's really simple. If you look up Makers for Adoption, we're the only one out there. And
I have him on my post as well.
Yeah, and what was I saying? I think it was what were we talking about? I got sidetracked. I saw a question.
How many people are joining and
stuff? And so I know that there's probably about 4 or 5 people already lined up again this year. But I imagine we'll probably be about 10 to 15 again this year. The intent is always to be one more than the year prior, and anything more than that is a blessing, right? So, so it's really what we're looking at.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I will definitely. I got a couple of things started. So I will definitely look into like adopting some agencies close to home and stuff like that, and I'll work on connecting with them and then donating as well. I know we're trying to get my kids to also like get involved with the community and stuff like that too. So they're still pretty young, but I think it's still good for them to start learning about things that's going around, because we didn't really talk to sorry, my dog wants to get in the house. We didn't really talk to them about my husband's, getting adopted and stuff like that yet, except for my 10-year-old. We just started talking to him about it, just because he's a little bit older, so, and he's my sensitive guy, so we try to tread lightly with him just because of my husband's experience and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'll definitely will look into the agencies nearby and definitely will contribute as well, so that way, and then we'll go from there. But I appreciate everything you guys are doing in the service, and also this is such a great cause.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I always recommend that people get involved in their local community first before going out big spread, just because you can actually get to know those people. Maybe you go to church with someone, or maybe you work with someone that is adopting, and can give you that kind of personal investment that you can help grow your friends. Yeah, so I always say look at your local community first and then move out. I also say that
Yeah.
if you're a maker and I know there's some guys out there, like I messaged 6 to 8 woodworks out there. I know he's super busy, he never got back to me, but I know personally that he gives a portion to adopting families just normally.
Yeah.
And so if you do
Yeah.
that as a
That's
company,
awesome.
then that's all you have to tell me. I mean, you know, I'm not saying to give $50 beyond what that is. If you already give to an adopting
Yeah.
adoptions and a portion of your product, then that's more than enough for me, you know. And then just let me know, shoot me a
Hmm.
message, and then just like the pages and follow the rest of the rules, and it's really simple. So.
Yeah, yeah, definitely very simple. And this is a great way to help the locals, as you mentioned. So besides that, it's a great cause and helping out smaller business and stuff too, and family that's within the area. So, all righty. Well, if anybody have any questions, let us know. Is there anything else you would like to add, John? I know.
Yeah, no, I know it's pretty simple. You know, one of the things that we talk about is, like I said, my wife and I, we try to keep this very, very simple moving forward. We want to make it very easy to understand.
Yeah.
One, because we want people to kind of look at the rules and not have any questions in mind about what to expect, and so, and that tends to
Hmm.
lead to kind of smaller, not really many things to discuss about it. You know, but. There are a couple there may be a couple of instances, I think, if you want to if you're overseas and you want to join, or if you're in Canada and you want to join, um, they just understand that there'll be some like prize stipulations that come with that. So certain prizes will be able to ship.
The shipping.
Yeah, we'll restrict you. So some of those things, like I said, I'm in Germany, and so this year I'm more than willing to ship to anywhere in the world. Um,
Right.
but a lot of companies, some of those things they don't ship. Like I know Total Boat, I think last year shipped to the Continental 48 in Canada, I
Oh, yeah.
believe. But you can also go back and kind of look at last year's posts and get an idea of the big companies like Tight Bond and Total Boat and Star Bond and what they actually send to. Because we had to do the
Yeah.
same thing last year. We kind of had to cut it up between U.S. and Canada, just because of the way it is. This year, I think last year we did three. I think we did four. Actually, we did four prizes last year, like four different giveaways, as far as like 1 through 4. This year, I think we'll probably just stick with 2, just because. And it'll be 3 because Klingspor sent 3 prize packages, and so the third will probably just be the Klingspor prize package, and then the second will probably be Klingspor, Starbond, and the Rockler gift card, and then everything else will go into the first one.
Oh,
I'm trying that this year to see if that just helps generate more people's interest, just simply based off the initial prize pack being so much higher in monetary value.
yeah.
Makes sense. Because last year
Yeah.
I know that there were a lot of guys who, you know, won second. There was talk between them, like second and fourth, and they were like, oh, but I really wanted prize number 2, and I really wanted prize number 4. And so, you know, I gave them the option to talk amongst each other and see if they wanted to switch.
Yeah.
But I think it'd probably be easier this year around, just trying to keep everything into one, and then kind of shifting small items that are multiples into, you know, 2 and 3. So.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a great idea. That's
well,
definitely a great idea.
one of the things, you know, I'd really like to see this grow into is to go outside of the woodworking
Yeah.
arena, and I'd say that's probably one of our biggest limitations, because I grew up pretty much doing everything myself, and so woodworking is kind of second nature to me. You know, working on cars is second nature
Yeah.
to me, and just fixing things is second nature. But when it comes to just all the other crafts that are out there, you know, quilting and sewing and soap making and
Hmm.
all those random things and 3D printing, a lot of those things I'd like to eventually capture over the next couple of years, and a lot of makers that are in those communities could help me by sending me companies that they rely on, companies that I can write letters to and reach out to get involved with. in the following year.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I'd like to grow this outside of the generic woodworking only spectrum. Because makers there's a lot of makers out there. There's a lot of different makers, but most of us find that the word makers tends to encompass the vast majority of woodworkers. And then there's just more that here and there that are just kind of thrown in. And I think that a lot of times these giveaways don't really, they don't really kind of help them or try to get them in on board. It's hard to sell it's hard to sell a $320 T-square set from woodpeckers to a soap maker, so
yeah, that's very true, unless they have friends that are woodworkers, then that's a little slim sometimes, so but yeah, that's very true. I think well, we could definitely I'll definitely will help and spread the information out, as for if you're planning on doing it next year, let me know. And then I could definitely reach out to others and stuff like that too. So we'll definitely share the page and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to happen every year until the day I die or someone takes it over. So it's just something we've committed to, and so I think what you'll see probably, I hope to have less of it this year, but like last year I had a bit of dead silence between kind of August and in January. And that's just because, promotionally speaking, companies, you have to get into their fiscal budget for PR at certain points. Otherwise they spend their PR out. But you also don't want to start promoting a giveaway 9 months in advance as well. And so generally I like to reach out to companies in the kind of October to January phase, and then promote it from January to June. Typically, though, with my work and my lifestyle, that tends not to happen. So this year it kind of just floated, and I just had a massive dead space between basically August and January, where I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start calling companies because I'm falling behind. So, and that actually lost us. I know at least one sponsor dropped off from the first year simply because they spent their PR budget already. And so it's, okay, lesson learned. Make sure I'm reaching out early. So, but if you see it, if you hear a couple months and the page is silent, no worries. That's just me hiding in my own woodworking corner, not really thinking about it. And so you can always reach out if you have any questions. So
I sure will. And definitely you got a support here on my end for what you guys are doing. So I really appreciate your time. And definitely keep me posted, how I can help and stuff like that too. I will continue to share what you guys are doing, and I'll do my part as well to help out as much as I can. So, but I really appreciate your time, John. And tell Jenna I said hi, and the kids.
I will. I really appreciate it. She's over here waving in the background, nervous to get on camera. So,
I know. It's my first time actually being in front of a camera too. So Jenna, I feel you. But thank you for everything you guys are doing. I really appreciate it.
No worries, and thanks for having us on board.
You're welcome. Have a great day, you guys. Have a great night, actually, right?
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.